started, but again, good to see everyone. Welcome to the Leadership St. Louis information session for our next cohort, which will be Class 51. This year actually marks the 50th anniversary of Leadership St. Louis, of which we have had a significant number of leaders in our community that have graduated from this program and are doing great work in the community, or have done great work in the community as well as national. I'm Yemi Akande Barch. I have the privilege of serving as the president and CEO of Focus St. Louis and also in leading this program. Madeline, if I can get you to advance to the next item on our PowerPoint, that would be great. And I'm just going to walk you through an overview of what we will cover during our time today. So Madeline or Erin, if I can get you to advance the PowerPoint to the next slide, that would be great. So we can get started.
Sorry, 1 second. I don't know why it's not letting me advance. All right, you're seeing the agenda now?
Yes, I can. Thank you. So this is the nitty-gritty of our presentation today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Focus St. Louis and also about Leadership St. Louis, give you some background information on who should apply. We'll share what the program agenda or the program schedule looks like for 26-27. As a matter of fact, we're already meeting about our 26-27 program schedule. I just concluded a meeting about the curriculum for that year. But we generally wait until the class is seated before we firm things up because we like to meet people where they are. We'll also talk about the program benefits as well as the tuition and the scholarships. And I'm sure what you are all seeking to know is more about the application process. And you'll be joined by a handful of our alums who will be sharing with you what their experience is. We have alums that have graduated, and I think we may have one alum from this year's cohort. And then we'll open it up for Q&A to see what questions we may be able to respond to for you. On the next slide, which we will skip over, is our focus video, but we will share that with you at a later date. So Madeline, keep on advancing. So for those of you who don't know, as I mentioned before, we're in the 50th cohort of the class where we have 60 amazing leaders that are going through the program. In fact, we had a program day recently, and I'm hearing from our program participants just in terms of how informative, how beneficial, and also how transformative it is. If we look at the demographics of individuals that generally apply to the program or have had the privilege of going through the program, they tend to be CEOs, executive directors, senior level executives, nonprofit directors, individuals from multi-sectors, that includes government as well as corporate. We basically help our participants to develop an understanding of the St. Louis region. If you really look at our tagline, what we do is we educate leaders about the issues in our community, and it runs the gamut in terms of what we educate them on. We educate them about healthcare, we educate them about economic development, we educate them about the history and the demography of our region. We also educate them on the quality of life, that being the different nonprofits that really do the hard work of our region and how they serve individuals across a broad spectrum in our region. Our seminars are often, actually not often, They are mostly immersive experiences. They are a combination of tours where, depending on the topic, you're given an opportunity to experience either with visits to different nonprofits where you interact not just with the executive directors or the presidents, the team members there, but oftentimes the clients that they work with, so you can have a better understanding of what it is that they do. It's a 9-month program. We meet one or sometimes two full days during the month, and we generally start in September, with the exception of this year because of the holidays. We're actually starting in August, and the program runs through May. Advance to the next slide, please. So who should apply? As I mentioned, they generally tend to be executive directors, senior level individuals across a broad spectrum of companies and organizations. They're seasoned professionals who desire to gain a better understanding of our region, and they have a strong sense of personal leadership, not just in terms of what's in it for you, in terms of how can you further develop your leadership skills, which happens naturally in the program, but how can you immerse yourself in the issues of our region? How can you bring what you're learning to work? How can you bring what you're learning to home in ways that you can continue to be catalysts for change in our community? We're also looking for individuals who aspire to work collaboratively with peers to address civic and social issues. And Ndwale, whom I said hi to earlier, Ndwale Jolly is the president and the CEO for Integrated Health Network. I feel like I've known you for about 9 years now. It seems like yesterday when we met, but he was able to partner with Operation Food Search to help address a community need. And that's what our alums do. Let me also give you a real in-time example. So over the past couple of weeks, the Sports Commission had been planning for the figure skating competition in town. And we happened to have one of the team members there. And she came back and shared with our class that I have this opportunity to share this experience beyond the normal folks who would ordinarily buy tickets to it. And she ended up, and you'll see on my LinkedIn post, giving tickets to a number of school children, a number of nonprofits, such as the Foster Care and Adoption Nonprofit and the International Institute, to give to the people that they serve to come have this immersive experience. So it's not just you that we are impacting and affecting as a result of going through our program. It extends beyond you to your colleagues. It extends beyond you, sometimes to even family members. It extends beyond you to the people that you serve. So there are going to be many opportunities to do so while going through our program. There's an intentionality and a purpose to selecting the class that we select. We want diverse perspectives. We want diverse experiences and knowledge, not just of your own, but within your organization, in a way that you can contribute to the discussion at hand. And last but not least, we are looking for people who are committed to attending all scheduled program days. You know, we are halfway through our program year. And last week when we met, one of our program participants said to me, I cannot believe the program is almost over. And I said, we still have a couple of months. We've got time. And she said, not really. I feel like time is moving pretty quickly. And that's what happens when you go through leadership program, or for that matter, any of our leadership program. Time moves quickly, and it's important for you to take time to build those relationships in a manner that can help you go on to be catalysts for change in our community. Next slide, please. So here's the program schedule. I mentioned that this coming year is a little different. We're not starting in September. We are starting in August. And we kick things off with our opening seminar. And the picture that you see there, our program days are immersive and community. And that was at a newly opened hotel at that point in time, that opened their doors, that gave us an opportunity to hold our 2-day retreat in their premises. And we are out and about in community. You'll get an opportunity to see places that you've probably driven past on a number of occasions, but haven't really had the opportunity or the chance to go in and learn more about the respective site. So opening day, you have it there. We have different seminar dates. We already have our dates ahead of time through graduation. We haven't set the date for graduation for 2027, but by the time the program starts, we generally know when the graduation date is. And this is graduation not just for Leadership St. Louis, it's a graduation for all but one of our programs. And our Youth Leadership St. Louis program, which is for juniors in high school, has a separate graduation. But those are the program dates, the program schedule that individuals that are going through the program need to know about. Next slide, please. So if you wonder, what do you gain out of this program? There's a plethora of benefits from going through the program, but we've synthesized them to cover the following. And you'll walk away having a deeper understanding of the St. Louis region. So it's not just St. Louis region. We pop into Illinois as well. This year, we had an opportunity to go across the river and do an immersive experience at the Freightway. And again, as I said previously, we look to see who's in the class. And based on that, we formulate some of our program days and we add new ones to our program day. You'll have what we consider to be unparalleled access and exposure, excuse me, to influential civic, business, and community leaders. You'll walk in their space, you get an opportunity to have a conversation with them. You'll also have an opportunity to have difficult conversations with people. You'll learn the art of listening. If it's not a skill that you have, you'll learn it while being in the program, just based on how you engage with each other on different topics around inclusivity and equity. And what we found is this helps improve collaboration opportunities with others in the class, but also with others outside of the class. You'll see strategic thinking in action, and you may choose to go and try some things based on what you've learned in the program afterwards. What we know with our 11,000 plus alums is they form deep and lasting relationships with a diverse network of peers. As a matter of fact, within the next couple of weeks, we're going to be launching our first executive directors roundtable that consists of not just alums from our Leadership St. Louis group, but alums from our Women in Leadership program and also our Experience St. Louis program. And what we find at the end of the day with all of our program participants is they have a greater sense of personal commitment and responsibility to the region, which is amazing. The way in which we move things forward in our region is from, the perspective of it all starts with each and every one of us from the leader within. Next slide, please. So here's our tuition. Our tuition is about $6,000, and it's often covered or in part or in full by a participant's employer. In instances where that is not the case, we offer partial financial aid, and I have to sort of reinforce this, partial financial aid based on demonstrated financial need. So we have never in the history of Focus St. Louis fully covered tuition. So if it is something that you are going to be considering, you should think, hard and deeply in terms of how you can do this. And if your employer is not covering this, we can arrange for you to pay over time while you're in the program what that tuition is. And if you really look at this from the perspective of even funders, we are a nonprofit who fund us, who cover scholarships. Um, they find that when people have skin in the game, so to speak, they are more committed to attending all the program days and being more engaged. And we're able to do this with the support of alums such as the Kwame Foundation and the Betty Thompson Scholarship. And these are alums who have gone through the program. Betty Thompson, for example, is an alum of the program. Her son, Tony Thompson, was also an alum of the program, and his daughter was also an alum of the program. And they continue to be engaged with Focus in ways that we are deeply in gratitude for them having started this scholarship. Next slide, please. So here's the application process. You may have seen, if you've gone on our website, that you can self-nominate to this program, or you can nominate colleagues and friends to the program. Our application deadline is Monday, March 23rd, and the applications are already open for the 26-27 cohort. All application materials, including 2 recommendation letters, must be submitted online. Once you apply, that kicks things into motion. You have to enter their information so they can receive that. And we have the link there, but we'll also share that afterwards. Our interview day is virtual. And what that means is even though some of you in the past for us have been out of town, you can still log in to complete that application instead of rescheduling it for a later date. Applicants will be assigned an interview slot between the times that you see there. And if you need to reschedule, we can also work with you to reschedule based on that. Our program participants are notified no later than May 11th, 2026. And you'll need to submit the program agreement that will be due May 18th. So that is the application process there in a nutshell. Madeline, can I get you to advance to the next slide, please? So if you have any questions about our programs, there you have the contact information for Madeline that I've referenced. And I should mention that it is not unusual that when people apply to our Leadership St. Louis program, they may decide at this time that they want to apply at a later date for that program based on knowing what they now know, and they may choose to apply even for our Women in Leadership program. So, or even our emerging leaders program. So these are things that we can certainly walk you through. So now for the exciting part of where we get an opportunity to hear from 4 of I would say wicked, smart alums who are joining us here today to talk about their experience, and is Dr. Helen Sue, Abdul Kaba Abdullah, Pat Wilkins, and Philip Marshall, whom I just saw recently. And Pat, I saw you also too recently. And Abdul, thank you for your email. And Ellen, it's great that you are back in the country and can join us. And this is the way LSL is. You build relationships of a lifetime, and it is just not a one and done. Once the program is over, it is beyond the program. I think Heather Rice is asking that we put something back, and we will do that shortly. We'll see whether we can do that. Hi, Bill. Hi, Ellen. And okay, I think you got what you need, or maybe we can send it to you. So I think I had seen Abdul here. Madeline, can you spotlight him as well? Okay. Aaron has responded to the question. Well, thank you all for joining us to talk about your experience. And I will just start out with Ellen.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Helen Su from Malapa, and I'm currently the principal scientist responsible for a lot of things. I don't know where to start, but I was in class 49, as you can see, the best class ever. And yeah, I guess I'll give you a bit of a summary of how this class has impacted myself at work and how it was quite meaningful for me because moving from St. Louis from Britain, everything was quite new. And being this class actually allowed me have better understanding of how this region is, from simple education up to healthcare. Everything that you can learn in this class is not something that I myself can obtain that experience or knowledge simply from work. So that's a very short snip of what I've learned, but that's not everything. And of course, we have fun with our cohort. And so, without holding the mic for too long, I can pass on. I'll do. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Ellen, before you advance,
Yeah.
for you, what was the most memorable learning seminar for you?
I think the most memorable one was actually when we visit the Scott base, as well as there were two. The other one was the healthcare day at BJC, because, like I said, these are the two very unfamiliar territory for myself because we had complete different system, and by understanding them in more detail, um, I believe it does help me to grasp the perspective living in the US as well as training, my direct report and working in the pharmaceutical industry. So I think those are the two things. And I am very grateful, actually, St. Louis actually have really good, I guess, very good healthcare, and I'm very impressed by it.
Okay, thank you.
No
So
worries.
because you and Abdul were in, it goes without saying, best class ever. Philip, I'm sure you're going to top that. So why don't we move on to Abdul, talk about his experience.
All right. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Try that again. Take two.
I said, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can. I
Yes.
can.
All right. All right. Hey, trying a new technology speaker and microphone. So for those that are here, it's always something new. So, but hey, want to thank everybody for really coming out this afternoon just to the informational session. For me, Leadership St. Louis is something I was one of the people where this is actually, it took me 3 times in order to actually get it. Get it. I was first accepted into the program until I guess this was 2014 when I was city manager in the city of Berkeley, and the timing just did not work out. Was accepted again, and the timing just did not work out. So the third time was the charm. So I guess literally 10 years later, I finally made it into the program because the timing worked out professionally, having the bandwidth to be able to do it. And so I would encourage people, even if you don't do it this time, keep trying because it is worth it. And everything in life is about timing. I always say time is measured in 2 parts, kairos and chronos. Chronos is just the time where it's memorialized, where we know when the date and time occurs. And chronos is when things line up for you to move forward in life and for you to be where you're supposed to be. And for me, it was a really good experience. It's one of those things that until you go into a program like this, it's kind of tough to explain because what it does is brings a combination of people from all walks of life, all personalities, religions, nationalities, political affiliations, industry into one space. And for me, it really opened my eyes as far as looking at myself internally, not just who I am in the ecosphere here in St. Louis, but how we all actually intersect in some way or another. And also, it also really helped me to realize a lot of times we all, like I'm in the nonprofit space in community development, but with that space, this is all about relationships. And this will be one of the best relationships that you build, not just with yourself, not just with the individuals, but with the region. And I think once you go through this program, it becomes a program that allows you to really see yourself amongst other people who are like-minded, and you'll be surprised how many other like-minded people in other areas. Even if it's not 100% that you're aligned, you always will agree and can work together on the things that you do agree on. And I think that that's a good perspective that I've been able to take from the programs.
Thank you, Abdul. So I'm curious if you can share, since you mentioned it, can you share an example of a relationship or a connection from LSL that became meaningful or impactful for you that you recollect?
Yeah, sure. So a relationship that was leveraged actually from LSL through to myself personally and professionally. One of the things is that I was looking to um, one of the districts that I run is called the Grove, and it's a creative arts district. And we were looking for funding to be able to really do some additional things around one of the festivals that we do called Grove Fest. Well, I was actually able to get some additional funding, not only in the art space, from a relationship from one of my cohort members. Who, they helped me to walk me through the process of how you apply for funding for an initiative we were doing within Grove Fest. We were able to be successful to achieve that funding and get that funding. And as a result, we were able to put together another successful festival, and the arts were a part of it. Also, additionally, I'm on the World Trade Center board for the region, and as a part of my relationship with people within Leadership St. Louis, I've been able to make additional relationships to kind of further my curiosity around not just trade, but also other opportunities that are available career-wise. So it's been a fantastic opportunity. It's been refreshing, and believe it or not, it moves past just the professional piece where it does become, you have personal relationships. So when the minute I seen Helen on the screen, I was like, oh, hey, Helen. And it was a friendly and warm space. So, and community. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Philip, you're in
Hello.
this year's current class.
I am, and we have not completed our branding quite yet. I'll steer us toward not trying to be too competitive against the best class ever, apparently, because we're all one big family.
Right. Yes. And you're in branding and marketing, so that's so on point you. Yes.
So yeah, just talk a little bit about my experience. So again, not completely through the program, and I've had programs before where it's like, okay, how much more do I have to go? And in this case, it's, my question is, how can I extend this out? How can I? But fortunately, we've already started ideating around how do we continue to keep the momentum going as a cohort. So I'm not too worried about what happens at the end of this section, but I will just say that, like a lot of individuals that's undoubtedly on this call today, you know, further along in my professional career, have been a part of and even helped to produce, you know, so many different leadership courses. I was very curious coming into this how this would be different than what I've experienced before. And you know, there's too many ways for me to really count. I will say that two important ones to me is context and dialogue. So contextually, um, the material and the topics and the things that we engage in have a new level of relevance to me than in a lot of different other professional development or leadership classes where everything is a little bit more abstract or general. There's immediate relevance both not just to me personally, but more importantly, because there's such a community focus, I can see how the things that we are discussing and confronting are very valuable in how it applies to the places where we live and navigate and all of us who are involved in this have already demonstrated how much we care about our community. So being able to apply those lessons and then the dialogue is so important too, because none of these sessions are um, being spoken to. It's being a part of the conversation, and it means that it's not only more rich and rewarding, but also it's going to be very unique because everyone who's involved in the program is very unique and brings different experiences and perspectives to the table. So I really have been appreciating kind of those two aspects of the program in particular.
Okay. I think, Philip, one of the questions that I would, what leadership skill or mindset are you developing while you're still, it's not over yet, so we got 5 more months, but what leadership skill or mindset are you developing while you're in LSL?
I would say kind of building off of what I was mentioning, the universality of the things that we as leaders that we tackle. Again, in the past, a lot of programs that I may have been involved in were specifically tied to the particular profession or the company or whatever it is that it was born out of. But being amongst such a diverse range of fellow cohort members really it helps you see how what you learn and what you bring to the table can benefit from a universal standpoint, all different areas of life, all different areas of our community, and fellow members. So just being able to, I think, pull back, get outside of your your zone a little bit and look at things more holistically and the versatility that comes with that from a leadership standpoint is extremely valuable.
All right. Well, thank you all for that. And I'd like to see if there are any questions in our chat, or if you have any questions, if you could just go ahead and raise your hand and unmute. Questions that you may have for our panelists, or even for me, or for Madeline or Erin. We have a question I'm trying to see.
What is the typical format of a seminar day? Somebody asked.
So it depends. As I said, it's an immersive, experiential program. And depending on the program days, some program days we start out with an immersive experience, that being a tour based on the particular experience. And following the tours, there are debriefs that each of the group does, so they can, if they didn't go on the same tour, they can learn from each other. And then we may have panels, and there might be another program day where we take them through a simulation. So it depends on the topic that calls for what exactly that we do in the program day. But there is always a panel of experts based on the topic that the class will hear from during the program day. Is there any other question that you can see, Madeline?
That's the only other one we have in the chat right now. Someone did ask earlier, what is the average class size? And we did answer that in the chat. There's usually around 60 participants. And like Yami said earlier, they're intentionally chosen from different sectors, different parts of the region, etc.
So it depends. I'm looking at all the, is the program in person with a Zoom option? Our program, Keenan, is always in person for this particular program because we feel that you experience best the issues when you are in person. So it's a in-person only program day. Is there homework or how much prep time is needed outside of the sessions? Good question. Oftentimes we'll give you things to read, and the reason why we give you pre-reading is so when it comes to Q&A time with the panels or even on a tour, that you can ask, you know, beyond basic questions of that experience.
And then Yami, we also had a question, how many applications do you receive per session?
It depends. So, you know, just for full transparency, we had 104 thereabouts sign up for our information session. We know that not everyone is able to attend just based on the numbers that we are looking at right now. So it changes from year to year. On average, I'd say we probably get upwards of, you know, 80 to 90 individuals that apply to the program. Am I missing?
And I was gonna say, do you have any recommendations on how to approach your employer about sponsoring tuition for the program?
That is a great question. And I would say that those are things that you can, for each employer, it's different. I don't want to do broad strokes. So for the person who asked that question, perhaps you can email Madeline and I offline, because there might be some one-on-one insights that I can give you about that, that will help make a strong case for your employer. Because it's not just about your own leadership development. Also included in that is I would call it a talent attraction strategy, as well as expanding your ecosystem of network for you personally and also for your organization. So it runs the gamut, but a conversation that I'm willing to have with you on how to better structure that. Are there any other questions, thoughts that you have? So in the past, some of the questions that we've gotten from this information session, people asked, does the class stay in touch? Absolutely, the class stays in touch. In all of our programs, and actually a majority of our programs, the class stay in touch. They continue to do reflection hour. Once the program is over, they invite each other to different events that they're having, or they even organize events for them to stay in touch.
Yeah, and I would also say one of the benefits of this is the larger network overall and the amount of alums that are involved in it. because again, a lot of this goes back also to relationships. Since I've completed this over the past year, I don't think I've gone into any room where there was not an LSL alum, and that relationship has really helped as far as a comfortability when going into certain spaces. And I think that's important because whether we want to accept it or not, relationships are what moves the region forward. And by you completing this, it really also sends a message to other people that says, I'm very serious about the future of our city, of our region, and we're like-minded. And it gives an initial sense of kind of a foundation for people to move forward. So with the alum network, someone put in the comments, you get what you get out of it, what you put into it, and that's true. But again, there are dinners, there are all types of things that once you get on the other side of it, you get the benefit of. But it is a great network, and again, I do think to the question that's in the chat, there's a huge network, and the opportunities that come from it and is just great. So I just wanted to throw that in.
Absolutely. I think our tagline should be where everybody knows your name. You walk into a room and everybody knows your name. And that is what we try to do here at Focus, to build community, to build your leadership skills, and also to expand your network and also your education in terms of what are the critical and important issues in our region that you haven't thought of, but can be a contributing individual, whether it's through you or your organization, to make a difference. So it looks like that is all that we have. Thank you to Helen, Philip, and Abdul for joining us. We look forward to receiving your application. If you have any additional questions of us, please let us know by reaching out to myself or Madeline or Aaron. But have a great rest of the week, and we look forward to receiving your application. Take care, everyone.